I'm back, as you were, DB. Welcome to the No Ifs, Buts, All Bogies podcast. We are a no-nonsense, straight-talking golf podcast discussing all the hot topics in the world of golf. This podcast is also brought to you in association with Barretto Golf, a stylish, affordable golf clothing brand. Please visit barrettogolf.com for all the latest offers. That's BARRETOGolf.com for all the latest offers. This podcast is also brought to you on behalf of the Golf Again Network. Please do go check out some of the latest golfing podcasts. And without further ado, I bring you Mr. O-Dub Hollywood.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Very well, mate. Very well. How are you?
I'm all right. I've actually just had a shave, and I think this filter will make me look really good. I'm just admiring myself.
Quite a lot like Marge this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In homage to Oasis, I don't know if anyone knows, but they're reforming and doing some gigs. Me and AB have got some bucket hats on. And you, DB, are the odd one out because you've missed the last couple of pods. Want to explain yourself?
Not the last couple, I don't think. Not the last couple.
We did an after dark version, which was for our Patreon listeners, which people might not know about. But yeah, explain yourself then, DB.
Not really much to say, to be honest. Real shame to have missed the streak. That is the only podcast I've missed to date. I was just having an extremely busy week and tiresome week, and quite frankly, I fell asleep on my sofa watching TV and missed the slot for filming the podcast. And on the rearranged slot, I had some face-to-face meetings in central London and couldn't make the second filming. So I do apologise about that, guys. It won't happen again. Apparently, you usually cater towards my needs. So I'm sure it won't be happening again. And I look forward to you catering towards me again in the future to ensure that our fans get the best podcast they can possibly get.
Do you think are literally thousands of fans in 16 plus countries expected to find DB asleep on the sofa?
No, I don't think that. Not my finest moment, but we live and we learn and we go again, and we can only get better from these things, Oda.
Well, it's personal growth, isn't it?
Sometimes in life we make mistakes. What's important is that we learn from them, we grow from them, and we become better from them. And I endeavour to do that for our growing fan base moving forward.
Excellent. And speaking about betters, AB, you now have a better half.
Yeah, mate. I got married last week, which is why there was no podcast.
I didn't know that.
So, nobody knew that, mate. Nobody knew. I felt like, it was kind of a bit, like a sportsman that doesn't announce it, I just went and did it on last Wednesday. So, and then announced it on Thursday after it had all been and gone. DB was there, obviously, because he is my brother, as you know. But yeah, I took the photos. Had a lovely day. So yeah, I am married, which is why there was no podcast last week. So apologies to all the listeners, but we had to take the week off to do a very important thing. And but don't. I was going to say, rest assured, I managed to play golf twice on the weekend, so it shall not change me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that shortly. And firstly, I want to say congratulations for myself and kudos.
Cheers,
it's great. You're glowing. And as a avid Christian, you can now have sex after marriage. That's also good. So we're really happy for you there. Christian podcast, Christian beliefs.
Yeah, mate. Jesus Christ. If you're out there and you want to sponsor the podcast, let us know. We are open. I was there. Congratulations from the No Ifs, Putts or Bogies podcast. We wish you well in your future love. It was a fantastic day out, enjoyed by family, no friends, CC OW. And we had a lovely time. It was an exciting experience for me because in typical OW fashion, I made it the Me show. Brought along my new lady to meet the family for the first time. So that went down very well. Everyone loved her. And who knows? There could be a second wedding on the cards very soon, mate. You never know.
Well, DB,
mess around, mate.
DB's missus, if you want to sponsor the pod, you know where we are.
Yeah.
We'll jump around a bit because I want to, I don't, as you mentioned, I don't want to make it me. I hear, Dan, you were getting closer with your new partner's extended family by the means of golf. Do you want to go into that a bit further?
Yeah. So when I first met her family, it turns out that her granddad is
Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, well, he's a good golfer. So he's not Jack Nicklaus, but he's good. So he's now 86 years old and only really has the ability of one hand because he's had some operations on the other hand and still plays off a 20 handicap and walks a full course twice a week and pushes a trolley, which I was quite impressed with myself. So
that's literally the same level as me.
Exactly, yeah.
With one hand.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I challenged him to a game of golf, jokingly, after a few beers a few weeks ago. And being a man of my word, as you all know that I am, I followed up and I booked us a round of golf. And her uncle actually came out as well. So we went out for a round of golf at, I can't remember the name, I want to say Wood Hills Golf Course in Yorkshire. It was near Caverling, if anyone knows where that is. And we had a lovely round. He was very, very steady, difficult chap to play against because he's a good golfer, but obviously, given his age, he's lost a little bit of distance. So where I might whack one 100 yards further, I'm more likely to go in the hedge or spray it left or right. He was straight as a die 9 times out of 10. And it was very, very good. It was very good, very consistent. And you could tell that he was a serious golfer back in the day. There was a couple of par fives, which is basically really where it was won and lost because it was a very closely fought battle. But I think due to the fact that I could just hit it a little bit longer on the longer holes, it played into my advantage a little bit. But there was a lot of dogleg lefts, which, given I'm a massive fader / slicer of the ball, didn't play into my advantage. And it worked quite well for him because he knew what clubs to hit, the correct distances. And he picked out most of the greens on the par threes, which was very impressive. But overall, yeah, we had a cracking day, cracking round. I snuck it in the end by 3 or 4 shots. But yeah, really good, fun, enjoyable day out. And he's challenged me to a rematch at his home course. So I look forward to doing it again.
Did he use a driver?
Most holes, yeah.
Okay. So, because I know some old boys won't hit a driver, they'll just plod along with like.
No, he used a driver and he used a 5 wood. Is actually his chipping and approach shots are very good. Where he let himself down, I would say, not to talk down on the golf club, the greens weren't the best. They were quite difficult to get on with. They're a little bit inconsistent, some sort of odd sort of rolls. You'd read it thinking it was going to break, didn't really work out like that. There's probably won and lost on the putting, which is a little bit unusual for me because I actually putted quite well. I sank a couple putts from the fringe that were quite long. I actually chipped one in as well in true DB fashion. Went straight into the trees, poked one out, was short of the green, and then chipped in for a par. So everyone was excited by that. But yeah, her uncle sunk an absolutely mammoth putt as well. So maybe 50, 60 foot, something like that. It was ridiculous. It was a big old long green. And rolled it all the way around. And the hole was at the bottom of this sort of undulation, if you will. And he hit the brake on the undulation and it rolled just straight down into the hole. And we were all arms in the air celebrating. It was a great moment. And it was quite funny because actually something that we discussed previously on the podcast was, that one shot, that one moment can keep you going. Our uncle hasn't played golf in about 2 years, 2 and a bit years. And
now he's got the bug again, mate, with that putt.
Well, he basically said, even though he probably didn't play the best, that one shot, he'll be talking about it at family barbecues and stuff for months to come.
Yeah.
He will just live off that, and it was worth turning up for the day just for that one shot, which is exactly what we were talking about the other day.
It's the Womma's mantra, isn't it? The Womma's mantra.
Yeah,
that's
it was.
Game,
so overall, cracking day out. Look forward to the rematch, and we'll keep you updated on the head-to-heads as they progress.
Yeah, we've sort of talked about already about how it's good about the accessibility of golf, but it's also good about like how it just brings people together. Like obviously, you have a common connection with your new bird, but it's a great icebreaker, isn't it? And lads on the course, let your hair down a little bit, banter flowing and stuff. And then you shared the moment. You shared the moment of the monster putt as well, didn't you? So something you'll be able to relate back to in future years when you're with your kids and stuff like that.
Absolutely, there was definitely a bit of back and forth, a bit of gamesmanship on the course when the putts were going in, or if someone was in the trees or in the fairways. It was just good, competitive banter that was going on, and it was good to experience that, and really enjoyed it.
It was just banter.
Yeah, I was going to say that I suppose that's like the beauty of the handicap system as well, right? It's a perfect scenario for it. So how old did you say he was? Mid-80s?
86. I have to say.
So he's 86 and he was off 20. So as we know on the podcast, that's what my current handicap is. Granted, I've only played the game for just over 4 years.
And you have 2 hands as well, maybe.
And I have 2 hands. Yes, you're quite right, Odub. But yeah, and then so what did you go off yesterday?
15.
Yeah, so you gave him 5 shots, but he can still compete and be capable of playing a game at the age of 86. There's not many other sports whereby you can do that and be competitive. Like, anybody can walk or do something, but to actually like go head to head, there's not many other sports where that could be done, really.
It just wouldn't happen, would it?
Beauty of golf.
But no, it's brilliant. He walked the whole course. He pushed a motor caddy around. He didn't really require any assistance or any help. So it was great chatting to him, picking his brains on the way around. He had some good tips and good advice for me. And he used to be off. He said he was off low single figures back in his prime and used to be a real good golfer. But he was saying, it keeps him going and he really enjoys it. He gets out. He plays every Wednesday, every Saturday at his local club, providing they got the comps on. And he's told me that he's the oldest competitive member at his golf club, which is a real good claim. And he's got ambitions to play into his 90s, which I just thought, fucking fair play, like really impressive stuff. Like I was a bit blown away by it, to be honest. It was a great experience. I look forward to doing it again.
It's good to see you both so happy, loved ones, smiling, happy. On the subject of slightly older demographic of golf, I didn't play this weekend because I had my mum and dad up visiting. Shout out Kay and Nige, they're big listeners also. But the weekend before, I played my first. Well, I've done a par 3. This was my first 9 holes I played, so of a course. Sheridan's in Cheltenham. Shout out if you want to sponsor the pod. Played with my mate Paul, another listener. I'll just keep racking them up. Yes, it's a 9-hole course. You can do 18, but we're both fathers. We just did the 9 on Wednesday morning. Lots of old boys playing 4 balls, 2 balls, that sort of thing. Prior to that, I was digging out my receipt then because I forgot what brand it was. I bought a Slazenger driver and a Slazenger putter. So brand new, still on the wrappers.
Sports Direct.
Yeah.
You went to Sports Direct?
Yeah, I went to Sports Direct, yeah. Shout out Sports Direct.
I thought you got it from a car boot.
So I've got my irons from Wommass and a putter and some fairway woods, 3 wood and a 1 wood. I didn't have a driver, and I went to Gloucester Golf Centre. Shout out if you want to support the pod. And I thought they had a used section, but they didn't, and they were just like all like 400 quid. And I was like, well, obviously not going to do that.
Right.
So then KPL took me to Sports Direct, and I bought a brand new Slazenger driver for 40 quid. And a Slazenger putter as well for 15. So brand new putter. Because I have got a putter, but it's a bit old school. Wommass actually wants it back. So shout out to Wommass. I need to give you that back. To complete my set. And then I went car boot, and I bought a trolley. And I've also got a little hat for my driver to stop it banging against my boot.
Right. Okay, brilliant. So, I didn't realise you'd bought new clubs to go with your
just
stuff.
a couple, mate, just to complete the set,
Yeah. So, have you had a swing of the driver yet? Then?
Yeah, so I went range as well. I just love golf.
The driving range superstore, yeah?
Yeah, I hit a 220-yard one, which was straight, which is the furthest I've done recorded on that Trackmaster thing.
Amazing.
Which is actually further than I'd get with Tom's driver that I used the other day.
Yeah. On the Top Tracer, I meant to mention to you the other day when we recorded, when it was just you and I, and DB was sleeping on his sofa. You can get an app, Top Tracer.
Yeah, I've got the app, mate.
And you can collect your stats.
Yeah.
If you use it, yeah. He already knows, mate. What can we tell him he doesn't already know?
Yeah, listen to Tom. I downloaded it on the way there. Yeah.
I have to say, OW, it's great to see your enthusiasm for the sport growing. And that's exactly what this podcast is all about. And we want to encourage more new golfers to get into the game and show how accessible there is. And I've actually got a message from one of our listeners that he's written into the podcast. So I just thought I'd take the opportunity to read that out quickly.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is, hi there, DB and AB and OW.
Yes.
Been listening to your podcast for a while. Love the positive vibes you've got going on. Just getting in touch today with a bit of a thank you. I've got quite a few mates who are well into their golf, but it's never really appealed to me. I'd rather spend my time running or walking the dog. However, my in-laws generously gifted me a few lessons last Christmas, which sort of forced my hand a bit. I've been umming and ahhing whether to even cash them in, but your enthusiasm on the pod must be infectious, as I took the plunge a couple of weeks ago. Admittedly, I had a stinker at the first lesson, but I did get my teeth stuck into it a bit more the second time around, and I really enjoyed myself. Keep up the good energy on the pod, and I look forward to my shout out sometime in the near future. All the best. And that is from Chris in Devon. So shout out, Chris. We look forward to hearing how your progress comes on, and keep us updated on the lessons. And that's the effect that you are having on the great British public, OW, by showing them how accessible the game is. How does it make you feel as a pioneer in the non-golfing to golfing world?
Well, I feel sorry that he lives in Devon, but other than that, that's a great email.
That's a lovely email, yeah. Thanks for getting in touch, Chris.
Kudos. Yeah, if you ever want a round, I'm sure we can arrange that. I mean, listen to that start of it. It's just like, I've got so many mates that play in golf. It could have been me writing that message, but it wasn't. It was Chris from Devon. But it really resonated with me, his words. I'm glad he's taken the plunge, and I'm sure he'll improve and pick up tips from us boys.
He'll be picking up tips from you, pal. That's for sure.
He could be listening to this right now, out on the fairways. You never know.
You never know.
He could be driving to the golf club.
Also, something else that you said, OW, I thought was quite poignant when you said, I chose to play 9 holes because I'm a father. And it's another fantastic thing about the sport of golf is, especially if you're a member somewhere, or even if you just want to rock up and try and get, like, some places will have a 9-hole green fee. But if a lot of people at my club will rock up and they'll have an evening in the summer, they might only play like the 6th hole comes back to the car park. So if you're stuck at work late and in the summer when it's a light evening, you might play the first 6 holes for an hour or so, and then go and have a pint in the clubhouse. And it's just a great way of getting out of the house. Whereas you can't ever really go and play half a football match, or, you wouldn't go and play half a rugby match or turn up halfway through a training session at the rugby club. You'd probably get fined for that. So That's a great thing about golf. You can kind of pick and choose how and when you play, tee off when you want, go when you want, and fit it around your family lifestyle. But AB goes out really early on a Saturday morning to account for his family duties on a Saturday afternoon and on a Sunday. So it's really good. You tee off at 6 a.m. or something like that, don't you?
Not quite. So yeah, I get picked up at 6:30, and then we tee off just after 7. But all the lads I play with, like Odub said, they're fathers as well. So we get out first thing every Saturday, and then we're done by sort of anywhere between 10:30 and 11:15, and then it usually allows for a quick pint or two afterwards, and still get home by about 12, 12:30. But even if you don't stick around for a pint, you're home at like 11 or just after.
I guess
you've got a whole day to do other stuff, family stuff.
I guess with looking outside now behind the curtain, it's 10 to 8 and it's starting to get darker. That playing those shorter number of holes is actually, for people who want to pick it up in the weekdays and stuff, it's actually quite useful, isn't it? And again, into the accessibility of golf.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming into autumn now, so evening golf's becoming a bit harder. But certainly in the summer, there's literally like a 15 and 16 hour window in which you can play and complete however many holes you want to do. In the summer, at this time of night, you can tee off now and get at least 9.
The other thing is because it's an individual game, you're not relying on anyone else. Like with a football match, you would never play at 7 in the morning because you need to pull in, even if it's 5 aside, you're looking at 10 minimum. And then you have to get the commitment and the buy-in and probably book a pitch and do all of that. Whereas you could turn up, like now, I could go to a driving range now, hit 50 golf balls and come home. And that would maybe take me, 45 minutes probably. If I was gunning them, maybe an hour. I don't know. People will then have a pop at me saying, you shouldn't hit 50 golf balls in 45 minutes. Well, fucking whatever. But if you wanted to go and hit a few balls at the range at the point, you could do that for half an hour or do it on your lunch break and then come back and it breaks up the day.
Yeah, I think
right near the driving range. You used to do that quite a lot before work or at lunch or whatever, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to sneak an hour on the range at lunchtime when I lived in walking distance. So yeah, there's loads of options out there to get into the game, and I guess your schedule is like, I guess it's not really an excuse because it's so flexible and you can just tailor it around what you're doing day to day if you want to get involved.
I would go as far as to say, bar something like running and cycling, it's probably the most flexible sport you could play.
Yeah.
Even my club, because I've got a club now. I think even on the range, last balls you can get 9:30, and then they close at 10, shut the gates at 10. So yeah, I imagine they keep that from the winter. I don't really know because I guess it's undercover, isn't it?
Yeah. Driving range is usually standard all year round.
Yeah. Before we get on to your 2 rounds, AB, I'm talking about handicaps for one hole. I was a scratch golfer. So I'd just like to talk about that for a second.
Does that mean you've got your first ever par, Odub?
I have, yeah. As I don't know,
right,
few listeners might follow me on social media. Wilts 1991, get involved. So it was the par, the hole 4 even. It was a par 3, pretty straight, but had a pond at the back with some duckies in it, so I had to avoid that. So I hit a 8 iron, just short of the.
How long was the hole?
I think it was 160. Does that sound right?
Be a good 8 iron if you hit that. Yeah, you're a big lad. So
he is a gun.
I probably hit about 100 yards on the fairway, which made a change from the rest of my holes. Then I hit an approach shot, and it hit the rough round the green, so whatever that is, the fringe, CCAB. You can't see DB's fringe. That's all. And got my Slazenger putter out, £15 Sports Direct, sponsor the pod. And just gave it a good old. Well, as you know, boys, I can
Wait,
read.
so you hit the putt, you hold a putt from the fringe
Yeah, baby.
where you weren't on the green.
Yeah,
How
Amazing.
far was it, you reckon?
20 foot.
Amazing.
I had my rangefinder out.
And did you scream and do a dance or anything?
Yeah, I screamed. I sort of got my putter and was sort of like, like the sand people in Star Wars, like, like that. That's what I was like. Shout out George Lucas if you want to sponsor the pod.
Disney now, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Disney as well.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I was really happy because it's like, I know, I guess I think we've spoken a little bit about milestones and stuff. That's the first, I'll always remember my first putt.
It's worth celebrating like a Sandman.
Yeah.
And so, what about the rest of the round? What did you shoot on for your first 9 holes? So, have you played a par 4 now, a par 5?
Yeah. There's one par 5, and then the rest were split par 3s and par 4s.
Yeah, makes sense.
I did get a couple of 10s, admittedly.
If you were playing Stableford, you wouldn't get anywhere near 10. So, play Stableford next time. Might be an idea.
Yeah, I mean, my little mate Paul. I haven't actually counted my score. I will do that, and maybe we can get it on socials. But I just had a really nice morning, and then we had a breakfast bap and a pint afterwards. Lovely.
Yeah, I love it. So, just seeing as I've mentioned Stableford, there, are you aware of the Stableford format?
Is that like Ryder Cup? You win a hole, you go one up.
No,
well,
so that's match play, isn't it? Yeah, that's match play. So Stableford is a golf format that revolves around points. So you get points for basically the number that you shoot. So, for example, a par 4, if you were to shoot a 4 on that hole, you would get 2 points because that's a par, right? If you've got a handicap, which you would have, and let's say for a par 4, your handicap is, you would get a 6 for that hole. If you were to hit a 5, that counts as a birdie, and then you would get 3 points, and so on and so forth. So basically, you get points for an eagle, birdie, par, or a bogey. If you get a double bogey, you get 0, and that's called a blob. So when you've said you've got a 10, once you've got past a bogey, you wouldn't play anymore. You would just pick your ball up and move on.
Okay.
And then you put it down as like a 7 or an 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
And 0 points.
Yeah,
that's the format what I do on a weekend. We obviously keep our scores, but like as a social game, we do points. So you can still win with your mates on points, even if you shoot like 100.
The other good thing about it is for the amateur golfers is we generally have like one blow-up hole, but you can still get a good score if you shot a 10 is the point. Because if you had a couple of holes where you got 3 points, or even with the handicap that you might start with OW, 4 points aren't out of the question, then you can rack up a good score by still having a couple of blobs, as they are called.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for pace of play as well, because I know when you're a beginner, people get affected by the pressure of the game, and they might get distracted if you're holding somebody up behind you, or if you're playing with people that are better than you. You get a bit pissed off that you're not doing as well and you're not putting the ball in the hole and things like that. But if you get to a certain point where you can't get better than a bogey, you just pick your ball up and move on. And then you try again on the next hole.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, we weren't really playing competitively anyway. It was just getting around the 9. But I really enjoyed it. Just something nice about, I had the day off, CCAB, annual leave, and just out with my mate, hitting some balls around and having a breakfast afterwards. It was lovely.
Lovely.
Speaking of, actually, on the hold-up thing, which we will link to you, because I'm sure you will talk about it, there was 2 old boys behind us, but only a couple of holes they were waiting in the tee box. It wasn't, I didn't really feel too much pressure, and they were sort of like waving and that sort of thing, so it was all cool. But I can imagine, as we'll come on to now, AB,
Yeah.
having stacks and stacks of people behind you can have a negative vibe in your golf. So, AB, your first round as a married man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, mate. Well, so we'll come on to the hold-ups in the second part, because that was my second round of the weekend. But yeah, basically, last couple of weekends been away. Firstly in France, wedding, and then in the New Forest at my own wedding. So haven't swung a club for about 3 weeks. So yeah, it was really good to get out on Saturday. I started really well. I was playing really well. And then we were on the 8th hole, and this is when it got to about sort of 8:30, and we started getting distracted by trying to get Oasis tickets, which me and my pal Tom were furiously trying to do as we were playing. And yeah, we got absolutely nowhere, and it completely threw me off my game for the majority of the round. But I still ended up playing quite well. I shot a 95. I should have been better. I should have been lower. I could have actually. It sounds stupid, but I should have broken 90. Sorry, on Saturday, because I deserved to. I played so much better. I had a few putts that just didn't quite drop, even though they were in line and things like this. And I was distracted, as I said, for half of the round. But we spoke a few weeks ago about what do we want to get out of our games? Do we want the scores, or do we want to be like hitting the ball nicely? And fuck me, I striped some iron shots on the weekend that honestly I looked like I was a pro, and it just felt amazing. Like I hit some iron shots, right, that I've now hit 4 irons over 200 yards, which with my previous set of clubs I never even got close. I think the longest I could get with my 4 iron of my previous set was about 180. I've now hit in the last few weeks my 4, 5, 6, and 7, all 4 of them over 200 yards. So I'm still buzzing with my new clubs, but I'm also getting much more used to them. And I was hitting it on Saturday morning unbelievably well. So even though that I didn't quite 95, I still got a marginal cut overnight because it was a scoring round, but I just felt absolutely buzzing. Like when I was sat down having a pint afterwards, I literally wanted to go back onto the first and go again because of how nicely I'd hit the ball on Saturday morning. So yeah, was buzzing on Saturday. Sunday, woke up, I was really excited to go out again, back to back. Haven't done back to back for a few weeks. We had a bigger crowd on Sunday morning, and it was nicer weather. So I was really like looking forward to getting out and going. And we rock up to the club, and there's 8 of us this time. So we've got 2 4-balls, and we're literally like minutes away from supposed to be teeing off. And we realised that the group in front of us hadn't teed off yet. So basically, there was like a lad who teed off on the tee time, which was 7:20, and then he just stood by the tee because his mate hadn't arrived, and so his mate rocked up literally at like 7:27, and our first tee time was 7:28. So he's then just taken his time, like not apologised or nothing. We're all just stood on the tee box waiting to tee off, and he's just rocked up 1 minute. Well, he's 7 minutes late, so he's 1 minute before we're supposed to hit. And anyway, he's fucking then hit his tee shot. Now at Brampton, there's trees down the left and the fence for the driving range. So there's a lot of balls in that area because of people slicing it out of the range, and then loads of tee shots go there, and then people can't identify their right ball. So there's like 50 or 60 balls there. I'm quite often in there as well, might I add. But he's smacked his tee shot, and then rather than apologise and run down the fairway, forget that he's lost his ball, put another one down, and just carry on, they've spent like another 5 minutes looking for the ball, and then carried on like as if they've got like no care in the world that they were late. And Anyway, so things like this really fuck me off, and it gets into my head when it shouldn't really, but it's just a thing that I have in my game where I let things like that really, really, really piss me off. And so I was annoyed. I went from being really excited to play to steam coming out of my ears for 20 minutes on the first 2 holes. So my round was pretty much fucked before I'd even started on Sunday. And because the point is, like, people don't realize further behind you that it was somebody else's fault that it's late. And so when you're 2 big groups, we were surrounded by like 2 balls and 3 balls. So it looks like you're just a 4 ball that's holding everybody up and whatever. But the reality is, bloke was 7 minutes late for his tee time and then spent 5 minutes looking for his ball. So we ended up teeing off like 10 minutes late, and it just delayed like everybody else throughout the day. And it really pissed me off. I calmed down a bit, and I pulled it back a bit, and then I went a bit shit again towards the end. So I didn't cover myself in too much glory on Sunday in terms of score. But again, I did hit my irons amazingly well. I hit my 7 iron was the latest club to go over 200. I hit my 7 iron 210 yards on one of the par 5s.
Is there any repercussions for guy being late for tee time? Can you not report that?
Well, ordinarily you would miss your tee time, but
it's really
the way it works.
etiquette.
Yeah, it's poor etiquette. And the way it normally works is you have a starter's hut and someone will typically monitor it. But
yeah,
Brampton's quite relaxed. So you have to go in the pro shop and say you're here. But then once you've been in there and got a card, it's kind of a free for all on the first tee. So the fact he was just late and then like just didn't acknowledge that he was late or apologize or anything. And then normally, if you are late, you would, like, if it was me, if it was the other way around, I would have just walked to the second tee. Or if I'd have hit my tee shot out of bounds, I would have just walked down the fairway, put a ball down and hit it without taking time. Like, there was no need for him to look for the ball.
Well, in my eyes, what should have happened in a common sense world is if one person is there and the other person isn't, you look around and you think, oh, these group of guys are probably teeing off somewhere around me. So I'll ask them what time their tee time is. Yeah. And if they're all here, I'll say, my mate's running late. Do you want to go in this slot? And I'll go in the latest slot. And then you 2 groups would have shuffled forward. His mate would have had 15 minutes to turn up. And then everyone would have just carried on as normal. But in some worlds, common sense don't exist.
No.
So he obviously was a bit of a prick and didn't really think things through.
Would that just ruin everyone's rounds of golf that day? Like,
well, I mean, it is what you make of it, I suppose. Like, for me, it really annoys me, that sort of thing. And on top of that, I was in the second group of my pals. So the lads, I had to wait for 4 of my mates to tee off. And then I'm there. We're then the final group. So then we've got like all the people on the putting green that are like due to go off after us. And then so like we're teeing off in the wrong slot basically. And I've got 2 lads behind saying, why are you on the tee box and sort of thing. And it's just really not ideal. So some people, I mean, DB may not get affected by it, but me, it really, like, I just hate like things like the poor etiquette, lack of sort of respect, lack of acknowledgement, like really fucks me off. So
it would wind me up before I teed off, but once I'm playing golf, I wouldn't think anything of it.
I'd be like AB. I'd be a bit concerned, especially if I was new to the game. I'd be like, well, this isn't my fault. And what I meant was, will it ever write like that day's worth of golf for everyone? Will it just everyone's tee time?
Well, generally, yeah. I mean, because it's hard to, unless there's like a gap. Basically, tee times are every 8 minutes, and on a weekend, it's usually from the first tee at 6:30 until 2-3 in the afternoon. Every 8 minutes, there's a tee time booked. So the only way you catch it up is if somebody doesn't show up, or a whole group booking.
Well, there's like if there's like a one ball or something, it might.
Or if there's a single, that can just like speed it up, and so it would have made the times late, but like I've explained it. I mean, I'm not going to keep banging on about it, but it generally would have delayed majority of people playing on Sunday just because this guy rocked up and didn't give a fuck.
Well, if you're listening, you're not welcome to sponsor the pod. I will say one thing. It does make you think that the two weddings you reference are both blokes I've known for over 15 years, and I got 0 invites.
Well, no, that's not quite true, because you got one that you refused, and then I didn't invite anybody to mine. So
it does makes Matrix in it, DB. It makes you think.
The Matrix is certainly have their ways, but if anyone from the Matrix is listening and want to sponsor the pod, we are open to that.
The Wachowski brothers, who are now sisters because they had a sex change, they directed The Matrix. Did you know that?
I did not know.
Facts after facts. Don't worry about it. Although I'm not 100% sure both of them had a sex change, but one of them definitely did. Right. If you're happy, AB, let's talk about the Tour Championship, and in particular, Rory's comments. I'll come to you first.
Let's keep it short and snappy, boys, because we've rambled on here a little bit. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll just do a quick. We'll do a quick roundup.
You chill, DB. All right, we'll go at our own pace.
We'll do a quick. I'll do a quick summation of.
This is our tea time, all right, and you have to wait.
Yeah. So the PGA Tour concluded for 2024 over the weekend at the Tour Championship. So just to summarise, the Tour Championship, it ends up being the 30 top ranked players for the PGA Tour that season. Now, by ranking, I don't mean your official world ranking. It's the ranking on the PGA Tour. So it's based on the whole season from the beginning of January until whenever, until last weekend. And, depending on where you've won, where you've placed across all the tournaments, determines who the top 30 are going to be. And then they play a final event, and it starts with a handicap scoring system. So Scotty Scheffler was number one going into the tournament, so he started on 10 under. So then Schauffele was second, so he started on 8 under. So basically, Scheffler starts with a 2-stroke lead, basically, on Thursday. And then it goes down, kind of like F1 when you win a race and you get the points, and it's like that. So Schauffele was on 8, Morikawa was on 8 as well. Rory would have been on 6 under, Aberg 4 under, so on and so forth. So there's still the potential that somebody else could have won, but the season that Scheffler has had, and he has had an all-time historic season. I know we did a pod a few weeks ago after the Open where we compared his season and Schauffele's season, and I think, unanimously said Schauffele's had a better season. I think Scheffler might have listened to that pod and gave us the middle finger, and has since then absolutely obliterated the world of golf further. And he's done some things this year that only Tiger Woods has ever done. So he basically, I didn't watch any of the tournament. I don't think DB watched any of the tournament, but Scheffler won. He led from start to finish, finished on, I think, 26 under or 36 under.
Was it? No, 26.
Something like that. So without the 10-stroke lead, or without starting on 10 under, he still shot in the region of 20 under. So he was just deserved winner. There's no arguments. He is the outstanding player in the world of golf, and he's ticked another thing off his list by winning his first Tour Championship.
Excellent.
I'm just going to do a quick. I don't know if you quite did this, AB, because I was looking for it whilst you were talking on my phone, but just a quick one. So in 2024, 20 starts, 8 wins, 17 top 10s, his second Masters, his second Players, a gold medal, a FedEx Cup, every single week in 2024 at world number 1, 3+ strokes gained per round, $62.2 million in total money. He also got thrown in jail during a major. Andy became a dad in the same year. And Kyle Porter from CBS, shout him out if you ever want to come on the show, let us know. But he's noted that it's truly a one-of-one season, nothing like it before. And I don't think there will ever be like anything ever again. I've also, don't know if this is official rule of thumb or officially true, but I've seen dotted around on social media that for a sort of bit of perspective, not quite sure where Victor Hovland's ranked in the world at the moment, but I think he's about 5th, maybe 6th. Scotty Scheffler's caddy has earned more money in 2024 than Victor Hovland, which I think just about gives you a perspective on how dominant Scotty Scheffler has been throughout this season. So
yeah, I've got one more stat for you as well. After that list, I saw earlier also that his official scoring average for the PGA Tour this year is 68, which is the lowest on record. So he has smashed everything. And the stats that DB read out, in terms of 8 wins and things like that. So Tiger Woods has won more than 6 times, I think, on 4 occasions. And Vijay Singh has done it once, where he won 9 tournaments in 1 year. But Scheffler's the first person since either of those. They're the only 3 in the history of the game to have done it. And yeah, I think his season is one of the most iconic seasons on record.
It'll certainly go down in the game of golf, for sure. It'll go down in history.
Yeah, excellent. We won't go through all the results, but the Creator Classic happened again this weekend. We read through the names sort of in our pre-record discussions, but I think these sorts of events are going to become more popular, aren't they? With the social media influence on golf.
Absolutely. Something that I quite like a lot of. I watch a lot of these guys on socials and stuff like that. I mentioned it in a previous podcast about how the PGA Tour need to do more things to involve influencers, especially with the emergence of the likes of Bryson's YouTube channel, knocking videos out of the park with Trump and John Daly, but also he plays a lot with the influencers and stuff like that. So just give a quick rundown of some of the guys that were involved. So Luke Kwon, formerly of Good, now sort of on his own. Wesley Bryan of the Bryan Bros. Obviously, his brother was there as well. Sean Walsh, I think, won one of the Good events. We've been in some Good videos. Brad Dalkey, obviously of Good. Michael Morris, formerly of Good. Peter Finch, Paige Spiranak, Gabby Golf Girl, Fat Perez, Garrett, Clark. A lot of the big names were knocking around. Matt Boucher. So I think there would have probably been a lot of eyeballs on this. And if there wasn't necessarily a lot of eyeballs on the television, if it was televised, I don't know if it was or not. I didn't watch it.
It'd be streamed on YouTube, but it's unlikely.
Someone inconveniently got married on the day that it was on. But there will be a lot of eyeballs via socials because these guys will have massive, massive followings. I think it was... just looking at social media, I think it was quite well received. So Luke Kwon won. He is an exceptionally good golfer. He has also previously won an event on the PGA Tour China and is classified, I guess, as a professional golfer, turned influencer. So, yeah, I think there'll be more of these kind of things moving forward. I think it does grow the game and help the game moving forward.
Yeah.
Or both of them have had starts on the PGA Tour as well. So the level of golf is good. And it's exciting for everyone involved to watch.
Yeah, and so just to add to that, what was interesting about this tournament is that it was literally on the Wednesday at the same course before the Tour Championship. So kind of a replacement for a typical Pro-Am. So a lot of events will have a Pro-Am on a Wednesday before a tournament. So that's where you've got pros that are in the forthcoming tournament that will start on the Thursday and they'll play with a celebrity. And it'll be a practice round for the pro, and the celebrity will be there, and people just get an extra day of golf.
Yeah, I've seen one where Steph Curry got hole in one.
Yeah, exactly. And so in this case, for the Tour Championship, they've held this Creator Classic on the same course. So Scheffler's there. He's won on Sunday night. He's the best player in the world, and he's pocketed nearly $20 million for being the number 1 player on the tour. But on the Wednesday, 4 days before, this guy's won the Creator Classic, where he's played against a load of other influencers on a course that you wouldn't get on. No one would ever get on that course unless, you know, they're invited or you're now in this sort of influencer space. So, yeah, it's something to work towards, I think, boys.
Could be
Anyone
there.
know what he
Figure out
shot
how to get
win?
into this.
What was
Do
that,
we know what
DB?
he shot- do we know what he shot to win?
No.
Write in if you know. On the, it's not actually on our discussion points, but I want to talk about it because I've been thinking about it a lot. Have you seen the Bryson DeChambeau thing? What he does with salt water?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, to get the perfect symmetry of his
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. Puts a little dot on it where the heaviest point of the ball is, and then sees
Yeah.
which way it rolls, and puts an arrow, and that's where he hits the ball. Crazy. I just saw it on speaking of social media, I saw it on TikTok. And I wanted to bring it up because he is very much in my algorithms now. Less teenage girls dancing, more Bryson DeChambeau, and I think that is growth, DB. So quickly, AB, the British Masters also was on. I have got a quick fact, but who won it? I forgot who the fact was about.
Somebody called Norgard. I can't
yeah.
remember his first name, but he won the tournament. So he's now, I think, towards the top of the rankings. I think Rory is still first, but he got a lot of points. So I think he's now gone up into second.
He got 16 under, because I remember looking at that earlier. But did you know, AB, that he's got a full bag of Titleist clubs, but his putter is an Odyssey Stroke Lad Tuttle.
Right.
So something for you to think about.
Right, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, that's good. And the Irish Open, AB again, because DB probably won't remember who won it.
Yeah, so this is an LPGA Irish Open. So as we've mentioned before, we like to cover all news stories, both on the men's and the ladies' tour. And it was lovely to see that Annabelle Dimmock won for the first time in 5 years. So I think she last won in 2019. So she's been sort of on and off because of a lot of injuries. So it was nice to see. I mean, again, been very busy, so I haven't actually watched any of the actual play. But I saw a clip of her knocking in the winning putt. She won by 2 strokes. And a very emotional win. Obviously, it goes to show that injuries are a part of the game, and it's, you've got to work hard to get your fitness back and then also get your form back. And it's always a great feel-good story when somebody comes back and gets a win at the highest level in such a sort of relatively flagship event in terms of it being the Irish Open. So kudos to Annabelle. Fair play.
DB, do you know her connection to Love Island?
Yeah, she dated Chris Hughes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was my fact.
You don't need to test me on reality TV facts, mate.
Because they did a bit of content when they were together, didn't they? I remember
They
seeing
did a bit of golfing content. They did indeed.
Sex sells, DB.
Would you like to know another good fact? I played a golf day at, where was it? Burr Hill Golf Course in Surrey, where Chris Hughes was involved. And I don't know if anyone ever heard about it, but I played at Wentworth once. And
was he there as well?
When I was at Wentworth, Annabelle Dimmock was on the putting green warming up. So technically met both of them. I actually got a photo with Chris, but I didn't speak to Annabelle. She was actually having like a proper coaching session. So, and we got told we weren't allowed to speak to anyone at Wentworth, just in case anyone was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't want to get a photo.
Chris Hughes got a really long putter or something, hasn't he? I don't know. Love Island. I meant penis. Shout out if you want to sponsor the pod. I think that's it, guys. Something none of us have in common.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, baby. Come on.
Right. Well, yeah, we're done. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Final words, AB.
I haven't got any, mate. We've just been through it.
Here's to AB and the life he's going to have with his current wife. I was going to say future wife,
Careful.
but they are current wife. So yeah, congratulations on the wedding, and
Cheers, boys.
yeah, all the best. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Go well if you're playing this week.
Cheers.
Maybe chat along the way there.
Oh, guys, good to be back after a couple of weeks.
That is 55 minutes that Chris from Devon's going to enjoy. It was Chris, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, shout out.